about just riding in the park. It's about how you get to the park, how you use it, how you hang out there, how you stand and wait your turn, where are you going to get out of the way, where are people going to watch, is there shade, is there seating. There's a lot of things that kind of go into the success of a skate park these days. So it's not just something you kind of go to and leave. It's come a long way where it's actually a destination and a community asset where everyone can enjoy it. And it's a good activity for not only physical health, but mental health. It's become very inclusive for all ages, all genders. Even people who have disabilities are riding them in wheelchairs. We've been on a lot of people who want to ride it on all wheeled activities that are non-motorized. And obviously there's a lot of competitions. It's now in the Olympics. The X Games just happened there in Southern California. You know, I actually live in Southern California. I live in San Diego. Andrew's actually local here to Louisiana, but I grew up skateboarding. I was a pro skateboarder for 12 years, and I've been designing parks for 17 years. And with all that experience with our whole team of having been to a lot of different skate parks and skate spots all over the world, all we're doing is using our experience of seeing what works and what doesn't work to try to implement that into your project. We know what the terrain is and how to make it functional, but ultimately we just want to hear from you kind of what your big ideas are, what your dreams are, kind of what is interesting to you, and then our job will be to make it all. So the tentative schedule is going through the workshop phase, developing some more concepts after tonight to present back to you of kind of what we heard. That all is going to happen over the rest of the summer. And then in the fall and the winter, we're going to get more into the actual detailed documentation that we will use to get it out for construction sometime, hopefully next year, if that works out, to be determined, however long it takes to get the funding secured and the bids approved. So we're kind of at that, working with you all to come up with something that we can come back and share with you of, are we going in the right direction? So some of these examples here are just ideas that you can look at and kind of get inspired by. It doesn't mean that it's going to be the same size or the same look. It just is for reference. So when you're giving us your input or looking at some of these concepts, you have a point of reference of what these parks look like now in context of where they could be compared to where we have it in Ruston. But just even understanding this slide right here, I like to start with this, of just understanding the flow of a park. I think this one that we did here in Banff is very similar, kind of similar in size and scale, but also similar in terrain, where you have some flow, some transition, some bowl elements, some street elements, areas to keep your speed at the ends, and also thinking about how do you come into the park, where are the kind of pop-out areas for people to stand and watch, spectate. We know that this is very family-friendly. People to feel safe here, we want there to be room. So we're trying to create that opportunity to have good flow in the park, but also staging areas, areas to drop in, areas to get out of the way, and for seating and spectating. And this is a view of that park built. We're not going to have those mountains here in Ruston, but it's still going to feel special. You do have trees. I've seen them. But this is just showing how we want to make this feel contextually a part of your community. Every park has of where it is and how it's connected. So just kind of keep that in mind, that that's what we're creating here is more of a destination where you can have zones. You can have a zone where people come in and gather. You can come into the zone where there's more of these kind of street style elements, flow elements, bowl elements. I mean, these are essentially all the things you're looking for. And it's just diagrammed out a little bit differently. It's laid out a little bit differently. So just thinking about that from that perspective of kind of more street terrain, flow bowl terrain, who in here gravitates more toward that kind of terrain? Banks, rails, grind ledges, handrails, things like that, mani pads. Maybe 4 to 6 foot, 7 foot kind of terrain there. hips and rollers and waterfalls and things like that, okay? How about more of kind of a pool bowl style? I see a guy in the back in the green who's saying, yeah, that's me all day, every day. So don't forget him. Keep your hands up a little bit, pools, okay? Joey, don't be bashful. Who in here would consider themselves a little bit all-terrain? I was like, look, when I show up, I like everything. Awesome. Good portion of you. Okay, so keeping going. This is just an example of something that looks more like a plaza you can skate in. There's street terrain. There's things that look like a skate park that don't look like a skate park intentionally. If you like some of this type of terrain that doesn't necessarily look like a skate park, we'd like to hear from you about that when you're filling out your forms of, hey, I really like things that look more natural. I like granite, or things that look like or skate like granite blocks, right? Or skatable planters or whatever. So if that's the kind of flavor you like, those are things we'd like to hear from you to know that kind of we're going the right path using some. It doesn't mean it has to be all that, but maybe some of it. So if those are the kind of things that appeal to you, just let us know. I think this is a good example of a different kind of a layout with one bowl, elevation changes. You can see kind of a raised pad there where you can have lower level features to complement the higher elevated features, a little more advanced. So again, thinking about advanced versus beginner and just kind of fun size terrain, make sure you let us know about that as well. Like, hey, I really like the more advanced, bigger banks or step ups, or I really like flat bars, ledges, and manual pads. Those are things that are really helpful. And here is an example of something we did in overseas in the Sweden area. We just utilized some of the natural materials similar to what we're doing here, utilizing the pool area and repurposing it. So if we can do that and kind of be sustainable in that way where we're reusing existing facilities, that's always a bonus and it helps with the cost of the project. So know that we're going to always do our best to reuse materials and be as sustainable as we can during construction. And I think this flow bowl is going to be something kind of a little bit more linear and similar to what we can do here in Ruston. But just know this is an example of how that can look, how it can feel. We can use some color. We can use some different kind of materials around the edges even with rocks or stones, or even put them inside the park. So again, those are kind of things we want to hear from you. Pool coping versus steel coping. This one has a little bit of both. There's some pool coping there. There's some steel coping there. Here's some kind of pump ups and rollers, flat bars. So there's a lot of things we can do in one space, but also keeping it roomy and breathable so people aren't crashing into each other. This is part of some of that same project, just different views of different features. But again, just thinking about all the way to a small beginner quarter pipe where people are learning how to drop in for the first time. Maybe that ties into something a little bit more artistic and sculptural. There might be one or two people in here who know something or care about art. That could be. But just think about how this might look and feel. We can definitely think about how to tie that in with some of you in here who are very artistically led. And then this, I think, is a good contrast of the lower level elevation, more technical plaza areas that are a little bit more street skating oriented compared to the higher elevation change ones there. So again, just for context, a little bit more technical, beginner, bigger, advanced step-ups, bigger rails, bigger hub ledges. Also notice some of the colors they're using, some of the logos they're putting in there to create some themes and some icons, maybe some identity. If you have any ideas of how this could really feel and look special to Ruston with some colors or some patterns or logos or whatever it might be, feel free to share that too. This is one we did in Noonan, Georgia. Has a little bit of everything. Has a pump track. Has a nice big street area. This is your more technical lane. You might see some of that in some of the concepts we're presenting tonight that are contrasting the bigger features, the bigger staircases, the bigger hips and zone, little kind of bowl pocket with a pump bump. I consider these more kind of street transitions. And then you got the big 10-foot deep bowl in the back that you can't see too well there. But again, there is a way to get a lot of different sort of styles of skateboarding in there and creating zones. Pump track zone, mini ramp zone, technical street zone, bigger elevation advanced street zone, bowl zone. The thing that you're seeing here is people are having room to stand and stage to wait their turn to ride all those different lanes and zones. So that's what we're doing when we're doing some of these prelim layouts, is creating zones and ways for you all to kind of ride more at the same time, if that makes sense. Just another example of kind of a skate park with a pump track. I think this is kind of similar to sort of like almost like a flow zone to what we're looking at there. And this goes back to more of that sort of plaza that looks like more of a natural plaza, more abstract. Instead of just a skate park, we just opened this up in South Fort Worth, Texas about a month or two ago. Very well received. But again, some of you may like that, some of you may not like that, but it's great for us to hear if this kind of terrain or this style appeals to some of you. Something more artistic, this is in Roanoke, Texas, is they claim to be the food capital of the restaurants. So that's like a floating spoon. There was like things in there that look like knives and forks and all kinds of interesting things. I'm not saying we have to worry about what the Ruston is the capital of, but there might be something that you feel like you're more known for than others. I see some laughter in the back, so something must have come into your head. I want to know what it is. Yeah. So, else, I know there's a bunch of you in here. Something popped in your head. You don't have to share it publicly, but you might want to think about that, because if you think of Ruston and think of something specific, it might sound ridiculous, but it might be kind of cool. So don't discount it, because no one ever would have thought there was going to be a skatable spoon in a skate park. There's an opportunity for something more native. There is native artwork and things that kind of really spoke to the native culture that was in this skate park. There are opportunities to maybe display some artwork that some of you might be involved with. Maybe there's a way we can showcase that. Maybe there's a way we can get some of you to actually start reading books by actually having some skatable books in here, right? So anything is possible. You just got to kind of think about what makes sense for Ruston. So as we go through these concepts, just keep in mind that some of it by budget, by the constraints of the site, by utilities. Some existing infrastructure we're going to try if we can, existing drainage that it's in the existing pool. We saw a lot of different coming off and away from the hillside. So we're going to be doing our best to fit everything in as well as we can so that we're not spending a whole bunch of money on new infrastructure. And that's going to be our job, is to use whatever we can that's already there. But just know that a lot of that is going to dictate the design and the budget. So we'd love to say we had an unlimited budget, but we don't, so we're going to do the best to create something really exciting for what we can do. And is everybody kind of familiar with where that existing swimming pool is? Everyone kind of generally knows where we're putting this park? Okay. And we know that there is an existing building here that is going to be taken down. So that'll help open up good visibility from the road into this site. And then in the future, we know there's some future developments here, and we have to think about that there might want to be a connection from this side as well. So the more visible it is, the more connected it is to the rest of the community and other developments, the more successful this will be. The parks from years ago, they were kind of hidden and out of sight, out of mind. They didn't do too well. There was a lot of crime. There was a lot of other issues happening there that weren't even being done by the people who are using it. So we don't want that to happen here. So I think opening this up and making it as friendly as we can is our goal. And this is just kind of a more zoomed in view of that, some existing images of the pool, and maybe even some of the amphitheater stairs that we want to keep, so people can continue to use that to look down and use it as a viewing opportunity. And then here are some more example concepts of parks that I think have features that we've heard that some of you have been interested in previously leading up to this meeting tonight. So if some of these things seem interesting to you, what we're going to have you do is take a sheet of stickers that you all should have on your tables. Andrew maybe can kind of hold up one and show what we got going on here. So what you can do is we'll take a sheet of stickers. Joe, you want to hand him one? And what you can do is take a row of stickers, we'll say 5 stickers per board. So if you take 5 stickers per board here, you can put those 5 stickers on the things that you like the most. So if you like this general skate park, you can put one here just as a general, like I really like that kind of a direction. Or you can put a sticker directly on that pool, because my friend in the back with the green shirt is definitely going to be in there all the time, right? Now, if you're a little bit more into street skating, you like this style, and saying, look, this is me all day, you might want to put a sticker on that. And if you don't like a whole lot in there, you might want to put 5 stickers on that. You know what I mean? So what we're going to do is we're going to see what people gravitate toward and kind of create a heat map of where people seem to be gravitating toward more on this example board. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? So here are some of the preliminary concepts we came up with. I'm just actually going to start back with this one. We probably should have made this number 1. But this is the one that has already been seen. This was done by our friends at Hunger Skate Parks. We know them and know them well. They've actually built even a couple of parks that we've designed. So this is something they came up with as a starting point of what they thought they heard from you all originally, of having some transition flow bowl, a pool, a street lane, and I think we added some other kind of bells and whistles of how to connect into that. But this is kind of that original design. And what we did is we said, look, here's where we started. Here's where we're at right now. How can we create a little bit more separated zones and a little bit more breathing room and create some really good constructability of how to make this all work for construction a little bit, with a little bit maybe organization is a good way to say it. So starting back at this one, we are trying to keep a lot of the transition areas within the existing footprint of the pool, and a lot of the street elements more on the deck. So that way it's a little bit easier to build, and I think this actually gives you a little bit more room to create lanes, like we talked about. You know, here's your technical street lane. Here's your more advanced, faster lane. Here's your standalone pool, which has a lot of room to stand around to wait your turn to drop in. But you also have room to stand here and wait your turn to go down the street lane here. To stage here, get your setup for your staircase run, because you need a lot of good speed for that. And then obviously a nice deck over here with return transitions and banks to get back up through the other way. There's also an elevation change through here that's more subtle, but more importantly, you still have a protected bowl in the center that you can drop into with different extensions, hips on the outside, hips on the inside, some waterfalls and things in here to keep some of that similar flavor that we saw from that original Hunger concept, just maybe organized a little bit differently. And then we have a clover pool here, which is very similar to the one I designed in Encinitas, what people call Poots Park, very popular bowl. We can have something like that in here that's a little bit more friendly. It's about 9 feet deep with about a foot of vert. That's flexible depending on the depth we can get. Maybe it's 8 foot, maybe it's 8.5 feet, maybe it's 9. You know, we can determine that based on our investigations. But generally, this is the kind of flow of design option number 1. So if some of you like that, just kind of take some notes. Like I said, you have your feedback forms here. Maybe kind of make some notes on that and say, hey, I'm looking at this, I kind of like this direction. We already looked at number 3 a little bit, so you can say, hey, I really like that original direction. Maybe they can do something more with that. And again, there are boards that show this over here. So at some point, I'll let you guys get up there in person and get a little bit more hands-on. And you can put, your 5 stickers on maybe some of the things you like on this concept. You may be like, you know what, I really like the center flow here, but I like some of the stuff in the other concept. Or I like this pool, I'm gonna put a sticker here. Or I like some of these street elements, I'm gonna put some stickers in there. So definitely let us know what you like and don't like about each one of these directions. And this one here is a little bit wider, a little bit more open, and we've actually put it more to the north side of this page here, up on the top, so that you have more room for a single wider street lane down here. Similar thinking, you have a street lane, a little bit more breathing room, a little bit more opportunity to have lines in here that aren't quite as narrow. And you do have sort of just kind of flowy, pump bump, almost kind of like a pump tracky feel on this side here that you can kind of come in and out of the flow bowl on and not feel like you're going to get run over by people trying to skate the street area. And the pool here is a little bit smaller, a little bit more protected, a little bit faster, tighter, maybe a little bit more like a backyard pool. But that's kind of how that is looking. So if that speaks to you, hey, I want something smaller, tighter, faster, I want something bigger and open with, a jump box, an island, a Twinkie, all that kind of stuff in here, that might be the one for you. Or if you like some of these more wide open street features or just this overall zone period, let us know how you feel about that. Now, don't worry about every little detail here. I think this is just to get the general direction and the vibe of what direction you like. There is a little skatable transition taco here, so you can kind of come through here, skate and grind through the taco, come back down here, or the other way around. There is a cool, quarter pipe or a bank here to kind of keep you in this way. There's a triangle bank to keep you in on the corner there. So we are trying to keep in mind that we know we want flow where we need it, and we're trying to have some flat staging areas where we need it. So keep that in mind as you're looking through all 3 of these. And here's all 3 together. So I'll kind of leave it up here for you to kind of look at and kind of think about it a little bit and make some decisions. There is no wrong decisions or wrong ideas. Doesn't mean you can't even change them later. Anybody have any questions on any of these concepts? This is a good time to maybe say, hey, what are we looking at? Yes?
Yeah, I just listened to you about the flow. I think about it, do any of these designs have a maximum number of skaters?
We don't typically have a max capacity, but usually what happens is we're trying to create opportunities for people to stand out of the way when they're not riding.
Yeah.
So sometimes on those pictures you'll see in those other example skate parks, we've had hundreds. They're not all riding at the same time. There's room for them to be there at the same time, if that makes sense. So I think, again, looking at the original design, we just wanted to create more capacity for people to be there at the same time. And if we're looking at how tight all this is, it might result in less people being able to ride at the same time because it's all so close. We try to spread it out a little bit and organize it a little bit differently on some of these other options to create more capacity to be there at the same time. I would say capacity-wise, number 1 and 2, probably a little bit higher capacity driven. And I would say number 2 is probably the most capacity because it's more of a less is more philosophy, the layout, which I personally always enjoy. Doesn't mean that that's right. It just means that we've seen how that kind of works, where less can be more in some ways. So just kind of keep that in mind. But I'll kind of leave you here for a minute. Actually, I'll just go forward and kind of back up here. For some people who could not make it tonight, there is an online survey that has a lot of the same information and questions on there, has all the concepts on there, the example concepts are on there, And maybe if you want to go home and think about this more, you could probably take it online as well. And option. And for those of you who, as I've mentioned, might not want to contribute in the actual rideable elements, maybe you're more concerned about shade, trash cans, drinking fountains, you know, where people can use the restroom. Whatever question you may have about how this is going to be a community asset, not a problem, we got that too. What's important to you, even if from a non-riding capacity. So there is opportunity for you to share that here tonight on these forums and here online. And so if anyone's broadcasting, you can get that information, and I'll skip ahead to that. Here is a QR code. Here is a survey link. And it is also on these forms. So if you take that home, you have the QR code to this online link here. You can take a photo of it. You can text it to your friends or family members. This is available. And I'm sure, Joey, it's going to be, yep.
Yeah, it's on Instagram.
So any questions? Have we made it easy enough? Okay. Going back to here. What elements from some of the concepts did you like? Anyone want to chime in on that? Yes, sir, in the back. I call that bowl more of a crossover bowl. For people who like the backyard pool, for people who like more of a mellow introductory level bowl, I feel like that's a nice crossover between the two. Doesn't mean it's perfect, it's just that, to his point, the more bigger pockets and bowl, maybe bigger transitions, is maybe more accessible to more people. Good point. What else we got? Anyone in here like a flat bar? Anyone in here like ledges? What kind of ledges? 12 inches, 14 inches? What do we got? It's about 12, 13 inches. Anything else you guys saw in there you like? Planter ledges. Skatable planter ledges? Yep. Nice. Yep.
I saw there was like just a 1-3 steer. There was like this wall ride kind of thing. I kind of fancied that. That was pretty cool.
Oh, just in the images in general?
One of the images, like,
So kind of steeper wall ride. Perfect. What else we got? Yeah. That's awesome. You just made Andrew's night. What else we got? Even from some parents in here. Yes?
So in these designs, do the amphitheater, does it stay?
It does stay.
It does stay.
Yeah. Unless you want it gone.
No.
Okay. Someone's like, you better hold up. Yes. From my pool skating friend in the back, any thoughts? Any preferences, or they all look pretty good? Okay. Yes.
We got to recognize it's Louisiana, and we have summer 9 months a year. Shade is going to be critical, as someone just mentioned.
Yeah. Shade is top of the list. That sounds good. What else we got? A-frame. Okay. Hubba and a rail. Hips. Bank hip. Tranny hip. We're not greedy. Okay. What else we got? Let's keep it going. Dream big. Yes. Art pieces. Yeah. I think someone's smiling over here. I think Joey seconds that. Color concrete. Awesome. Color preferences? Did you see any colors you guys like in there?
I like the Birmingham.
I like the red, Birmingham
colors are good.
Red, brown tone.
Earth tones? Okay. Any colors that you think kind of speak to Ruston in particular?
Purple because it's the mix of red and blue.
Why not? Look, she likes that. She's like, I got, yeah. We got some smart people in here. Yes. So we did notice there is electricity there, as Joey actually was able to point out to us. I think lighting will be on the wish list, just not how far the dollars are going to go. But if lighting is something you really want, please put it on the list and look how far up the priority list it goes. These guys literally couldn't even get to their pins fast enough. Yeah. So if you feel like, hey, I don't know if we can afford this or not, let's not worry about that. Let's just hear what the priorities are, and then we can start kind of organizing what the top 3 to 5 are, and then we can see how far we can go with it. But I think that's a great idea, is lighting. Months, right? So, yep. Yes.
I think that their design seems a little bit too busy at a risk of like incorporating too many things in there. I like the original try. Seems like it just might be too much. I do like the clever ball. I think that's really cool. And even though it's larger, I think it might be more enjoyable overall. I know a lot of the skaters here are more street skaters, and like the ledges and like a hubble ledge would be really cool. But I do think it would be nice to be welcoming to other people that just want to attract that type of tourism. And the CBB did give us a lot of money to try to fund this project, so I do think that it would be nice to like appeal to other people to be coming in and stuff like that. I'm not sure what we did as far as our sponsors and stuff like that, but it could be that we've reached an agreement with some of them. The skatable art or piece as a nod to like their business, so we do need to look at that. Is to like meet our sponsor agreements. And I like checkerboard concrete if that's possible.
Anything is possible. I don't have some images up here. I've worked on a lot of projects before I even joined New Line.
I'm sorry,
Oh.
one last thing. I don't know if restrooms were considered big. That to me is very important because I live on that street. And I know that like there's not a lot of places right now as far as business, like close enough businesses to walk to, like maybe nice centers in that area. And
That's nice of you.
my house is not an option. Really, that was like, as a board member, one of my like major big wishes. And I know it's not that important to everybody, but it's important enough to me to say something about it.
Well, I will. Some of the most successful skate park projects do have a lot of what we heard: shade, restrooms.
Like, you know what, like, accommodate people who, like, I work late sometimes.
Yep,
And, like, I want to be able to enjoy it. Also, it's hot as hell here in the summer.
it is.
So, like, being able to go to, like, you know, I mean, in some of our parks in South Louisiana do have light setups, and, like,
Yep.
they are more successful. So, like, lighting, restrooms, you know.
Those are all very valid. And I know that restrooms are costly. But again, to the point I made earlier, don't worry about the price tag. What you made is very valid about the restrooms, and I think that's good.
If we're going to attract, like, competition.
Yes.
Or, like, have, like, we're right next to the Boys and Girls Club, so locally, like, they can use their bathrooms. If we're going to have camps or anything like that, like, we need to be able to accommodate people.
So I did do a project in Boston with vans. We did do checkerboard pattern and pool coping tile. But that's also because we made vans help pitch in $1.5 million. If that's something we want to do, you know, with the help of the board, we can approach some of those people, right? We've worked with Vans, we've worked with Dickies, we've worked with Levi's Jeans. There's a lot of people we've worked with over the years.
Let me know how much money.
I like that. Yeah, we'll be in touch. So I think this is an opportunity for us to dream, see how far we can say, look, this is where we were able to come up to, and here's what we can get within that. With the sponsors we have, I also like some of the ideas you talked about, because with mentioned artistic elements in the skate park that a nod to that brand. Vans didn't want their name anywhere in the park. It was just subtle checkerboard patterns. Dickies, we used their, it's not really a horseshoe, but the ox collar was their thing, so we did that. And there was some naming on there, but I think everyone tries to be as tasteful as possible. We would have to check to know and not allowable for branding and logos and things like that, and sponsorship agreements. Every agency is a little bit different. Can do. Great first step. Some of these initiatives take several meetings. What it is they want to get time. There's some ideas they have attach themselves to a project. There's a great time to do it. But first and foremost, it's a community skate park. So if there's something you all strongly believe in that's going to make this special, that's first and foremost. So when we met with these other people that we're talking about, we made sure to let them know what that was. Some things are a non-negotiable thing. Like if someone were to say, hey, we want to help support this park with $1 million, but there's no flat bars, my friends over here are going to have a problem with that. You know what I mean? So we just can let them know, this is what we heard from the community, and if you want to come on board with that, great. Come in here and change a whole bunch of things, we're probably not interested. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. Anything else? Those are great, by the way. And don't think this is your only time that you can. Again, you can go online, you can share, you can fill out some forms. We're going to be here for a little while. So if you start thinking about more things, you can just add to the list. But top 3: shade, lighting, restrooms. Anything else we're missing? Drinking water fountain.
What about parking?
The what? Parking. Oh, parking. Yeah, can't forget about that. Any other ways people are getting around these days in Ruston?
I would love to see, like, I know as a board, we've talked about, like, phase 2, we're going into that, like that. And right now, like, we might not have the resources or the funds to, like, support, like, a pump track or something. So if that's, like, you know, I would love to see our prioritized items, like, be able to be added on and, like, have that set up for phase 2. So, like, definitely don't want to, like, put ourselves in a hole for a design that we super love right now that we can't then come and add on when we're creating that art card to, like, make a pump track or something like that.
Yeah, we talked about when we did these concepts, we're thinking, if we couldn't do all of this, are we designing something that's easier to phase? And again, we started here, it got difficult. We got here, easy future phase, or something else, right? So there are some things that we can consider that we can have now or have later. Some of the amenities, we might put some infrastructure in now, like conduit for lighting, because we can't afford it right now. And just like the projects I mentioned, like the one in Boston, we did put the conduit later, lights were put. Sometimes it can be very frustrating to not get the things you care about the most right away, but this is definitely a long game situation, and as long as we know what's important to you, we can always work to get it added in as soon as we possibly can. There's no promises, but it's amazing how when people are passionate enough, like you all are, and you're working together as a village, it can happen. And there's a lot of projects where I never thought they'd ever raise $1 million, $2 million, $2.5 million, but they did. Anything is possible. What else we got?
Overall, I like intermediate level. It's a challenge, and it makes pros get creative. If it's intermediate, I'm kind of intermediate, so I'm still gonna fall. But
Hey, we're all falling. Yeah.
But the real good guys like you could see the easy stuff and be like, oh.
And get creative. This guy's a genius.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my business card later. It's future job opportunity. Okay, here's a good gut check right now. How many of you in here, you can raise your hands. Gravity doesn't mean you like everything in it, but overall, as a leading line to start with, concept number 1, show of hands. Just leave them trying to take count. I see some people, strong hands raised in the back. I really appreciate the enthusiasm. This guy just walked in and already raised his hand. He's like, I'm already sold. He's like, I need no background, no explanation. I'm in on number 1. I'm here. Okay, that's good. Direction number 2 is your leading concept. Don't be bashful. I see a couple here. It's okay. No, direction number 2. Sorry, direction number 2. Okay, so we got that. Do you know this is direction number 1? Joey? Okay. The original design we started with is number 3. Number 3. 5, okay. How many in here combination? Okay. What I'll do is you kind of raise your hand and I'll have you share what the combo. You said 1 and, okay. 3, 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. In the back, my girl on the board back here. I heard you, I saw your hand shoot up and. Two lanes, the skatable tacos, some of the rollers that feel like more the pump track style. Got you. Okay. And what?
And like I think like a future contract is doable if you have like 2 directions and you don't up into the top.
We'll talk about the pump track. It's a little bit harder than you think, and they're not cheap. Sure, 100%. What other combos we like?
Number 2, very bottom left, there's that little quarter. I think it'd be cool to incorporate that somewhere into the first one, but like with that, it seems like if you were to put it in the top left or the bottom left corners, it would shoot out into the bowl. You wouldn't have much of a run up. But just like a small quarter, I mean, how deep are those bowls? Not the big pool, but like.
Don't even worry about it. You just say add in some small quarters. We got you. Yeah. What else we like? Any kind of combos or things maybe you're missing of number 1? You raise your hand for number 1, but you something. Yes.
I really like the 3 different elevations in one.
The changing elevations. That's good to hear. Yep.
You see where the grass patch is in the far right on person?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to have like an art piece right there that's skatable.
Okay. That's definitely doable. Yep, in 1, or I mean any kind of in general.
We're all on the same page. Can you just kind of like explain like the taco? Is that just like almost like a corner of a pool, like just like a curve coming around?
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of like it's literally like a taco-shaped quarter pipe.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of like starts at a 0 4 feet tall and then comes back down. I mean, maybe we can get Taco Bell or something, a Mexican restaurant sponsor. Look, she knew she's already making phone calls. Yeah. So, we're all about it. I mean, we did do a project in Madison, Wisconsin. There was a produce store, and they contributed about $100,000 to convert one of the bowls. We had a kidney bowl, and we shaped the kidney bowl to look more like an eggplant. And we did purple tile, and we called it the eggplant bowl. $100,000. It's possible. Anything's possible. What else we got? Joey, any?
Design with that split level. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy about everything.
Awesome. Anything else? Anyone? Any city staff thoughts?
One thing.
Yes.
You talked about color, but we didn't really talk about texture.
Okay, so Joey mentioned we talked about color, but we didn't talk about texture. Your thoughts about any of that?
Slick.
Well, we don't want slick. Smooth. Yeah. But, you know, there are sometimes people like metal plates, diamond grind or diamond plates. Some people like diamond grind coping. Some people like pool coping. I'm hearing from, right? So if we have a pool, are we looking for a pool coping and tile? I'm looking at my friend in the green because I already know what the answer is. A little bit of both? So consider this. We could potentially have the pool coping tile in that, majority more steel. Or has anyone skated diamond grind? Does anyone like that? Have you ever experienced that? Yes. Yeah, so you're grinding it. Now, it doesn't mean everything is diamond grind, but is that something of interest when we're talking about texture? Maybe somewhere? Okay. Any other texture? Yep.
If we have full coating, we're gonna have to upkeep it though, more than what it would look like actual.
Yes, I'm glad he said that. If you put in pool coping, you have to maintain it. And we will provide you with a maintenance manual to help you maintain it. But I'm not gonna lie to you, it takes a lot of maintenance. Especially if you have a lot of different people and they're riding it, the more popular it is. This pool that this is formed after in Encinitas, Poods Park, has to be maintained every single week. Someone is going in there and saucing it up. And every month they're epoxying the joints because it gets hit by 50 people a weekend, maybe even 100 people a weekend. So yeah, there's no joke, it takes maintenance. You guys are going to have to band together and work to have that kind of, you know, you with the city to help maintain it. What was that, John? There's some maintenance, what? Regular steel coping is the most affordable, durable. Diamond grind is also very durable, but costly. Thank you, sir. Pool coping and tile is more expensive, almost double, and it takes more maintenance. Now, I'm not trying to sway you from that because it is very popular for the experience, right? And to some of the comments we've heard about attracting or events or making this more of a world-class park, that is very valid. Just means we'll think about how much of it, you know, we'll definitely pick the right pool coping. We'll make sure equip you guys with the right maintenance information. It's just something to consider. We don't have today. It's just thinking about that piece of it. Any other thoughts? Yes. Yeah, not likely. Yes, pretty difficult. Yep.
So we've got this little spot on campus at Louisiana Tech. A lot of people go there and skate. I know all of us do. It's the Carson Taylor 3-stair, and it's made of marble. Is there any way that we could get that stair set made of marble?
Add it to the list. Done.
Carson Taylor?
Carson.
Yeah, and I'm not saying again that it's guaranteed it's in there, but we have done that. We've done staircases, granite ledges. The granite stairs are cool because they do hold up longer, but it just makes. Maybe we even have a landing zone that's. Right? Maybe that could be cool too. So here's what I'm going to do to keep it moving. I'm going to let all the tables go up and start putting stickers on the boards. Get your stickers ready. And Andrew and myself will be walking around and observing and answering any questions that you might have. And then we'll wrap it up and have you come back to the tables, have a little bit more Q&A to wrap it up. But I want you guys to have opportunity to get up here, put your stickers on there, give us some feedback. And we'll be walking around, so I don't think you can approach us and ask some questions. Anything else? City staff? Anything so far? Board members? Yeah. Yes. In case someone has to leave early, yes, thank you for coming. Your input is really, really good. So let's just take a little bit of time here and go up to the front and look at this stuff. Get a little bit more. Oh, so just a reminder, 5 stickers per, no matter what color.
I'll take that off because you're. Thank you so much. It was awesome. All right, there you have it. So what's going to be happening, best I understand, as we are at the historic firehouse for input meeting number 1 on the Ruston Skate Park. There are currently 3 renderings, as best I can tell, and now it's up with the input of everybody gathered. And oh, by the way, you can have input right there's this QR code to scan the code, take the survey, look at the renderings. They welcome any and all feedback. For me personally, here we are, what is it, 2023. That is the current condition of the place and space that was known as Ruston Pool, the municipal pool. Here's a shot, because I'm the director of the Lincoln Parish Museum, of the constructing of the pool. And when I first saw this photo, I'm like, I didn't know they had bathhouses here, the Ruston Pool, and the answer, yeah, they did. So to me, here we are living in a time and place where this is now, that was then, and that was then. And too bad I can't flash up the renderings, but with everybody's input, those are the 3 renderings with openings, or options is a word, opportunity for your input, changes, modification, community input, all ages, stages, phases. Get your input there. There's the survey. So, by the way, one more bit of historical, oh, I don't have that picture. Anyway, that's General Patton, George S. Patton. He's been at the Ruston Pool, soon to be the skate park, Ruston Skate Park. He came in 1941, July of 1941. So that's what you're looking at right now. I'm in the corner. Raise your left hand, Rick. I did. Hopefully the audio came out. Very, very encouraging personally for me. The community, auspicious comes to mind for input meeting. And yeah, make it happen, Captain. Let's create a remarkable future. Hashtag, let's create a remarkable future. Everybody's got a great and glorious past. We're in the present to create a great and remarkable future. And what else? I love this picture. Ooh, look who's eating a cookie. I spy. All right. So I think I'm going to sign off the ATL All Things Local. I hope everything came out. A Godly Works production. Remember, Godly Works because he does. There's the ATL. It's stuck in the light. Move it over there. There you go. All right, so where are we at? 7-Eleven. This started at 6. They're going to stay here till 7 o'clock. Oh, I know you. I want to interview him. I want to interview, and I don't know the gentleman's name. Let me get set up for this. Let's see. Let's turn. Whoa, Rick. Nah, we don't need to. There he is right now. I'm going to get him and show him. Let's do this live, and then this would be a great, as Bill O'Reilly said, we'll do it live. The renderings here. What's that?
I don't want to interrupt you if you're talking to somebody.
No, what do you want?
I'm John Kite.
I'm Rick Godley. We are live right now. Live streaming? I am. Can you hard? Yeah. Come on over here. You know, Gordon, is that the connection? All right. Yeah, we need to talk. Well, I'm a team player. That's what it takes. But I can be a road guy. That's what it takes.
Fully understand the value of all sides of this, so we should talk.
Oh, very much so. 'Cause you know, great way. All right, we're still here, just networking. We're gonna, you just stand by. Be careful, man. It's Carl Pouliot coming up here live. Oh yeah, it is. Have you seen, let me show you. I got Carl Pouliot. You know, in everything that goes around comes around. I found this at the Lincoln Parish Museum. That's them building the pool. And then here's a shot of the pool.
For some reason, it's on my calendar.
Did you know they had bathhouses
Oh, look at that. What a great,
at the pool?
What a cool picture.
I know. And then one more thing. There it is. And up here's the Military Museum. George Patton came here in 1941. And so they had maneuvers. So what I'm kind of excited about is they're turning this old into, you know, whatever it's going to become, a skate park.
It's going to be, I don't think people understand how cool it's going to be, how visually attractive it's going to be. Yeah.
Very cool.
How about I stop by about 11?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work,
You know where it is, right?
I do.
609 North. I'm there. You
So
show
I'll come by about 11 and we can talk, and that'll be the first conversation. We'll talk some more. All right, so I'll come by and see you about 11.
Awesome. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Let me write it down. Oh, I love it. Conspiring. That is just me breathing the same air. Conspire, aspire, perspire, inspire. Shut up. So, I mean, obviously everything is all right here. Busy. Keep it all on the level. Black and gold, blue and red. So on August 13th, President Dice and President Gallagher had a meeting. Right. That's we had all 6 million. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a neat thing that was happening.
Yeah, so I did see that that's the Chautauqua. I don't know. Chautauqua was meant to. Is that?
Well, what I call it is the tag team Chautauqua.
Yeah.
But yes, it's a Chautauqua on education. Because I'm just, I know it. Education is one of the primary disciplines of Lincoln Parish. And then the parallel Granite States and Louisiana Tech. Ruston had a community college before Tech. Did you know that? And that was part of the reason why they chose Ruston to put, Louisiana State School up here. And because of the Chautauqua movement, education, and same thing with Granny. You know the Granny's named after a white person? Donated the land. And Alan Green, the founder of Lincoln Parish, started the first school for Negroes and colored. And that, so those two cities, it's amazing. So,
So the event takes place at the museum. You're going to be. How we're going to do that? We're just going to fill up.
I want as many people there as possible as often as possible.
Okay.
It'll be an overkill, but
And then, but you'll have a. You're going to have a beam to the world as well.
I'm going to do that too. All right, a whole lot going on here tonight at the historic firehouse. I think I'm going to kill the stream. No, I'm going to get him. Hang on one second. Let me try to do it. I'm not going to get him because now what he's doing, and forgive me, I don't know his name, the designers, he's now talking, and you know, with the the people that are going to vote on the renderings here at the firehouse. So let me put up the code again. First of all, this is input meeting number 1. You can scan that survey, QR code it, and to me, it's really neat. You know, to everything there is a season. Turn, turn, turn. I thought it was a song by the Beatles. Beatles, the Birds. And the book of it. So here it is. In the beginning,